Okay, hi. So today is Monday, June 16th, 2014. I just wanted to go over the topic of addictions. Well, basically, addictions could be anything. I think we sometimes think of addictions to be alcohol, primarily some beer or tequila shots or vodka. We can also think of it to be pills, whether it could be an addiction to Adderall or addiction to sleeping pills, maybe marijuana, cocaine. People may even go as far as to think that people could be addicted to sex or strip clubs. Um, there's a lot of things a person could be addicted to. So just wanted to touch a little bit about what an addiction is and what are some of the ways to not do it or not continue in an addiction. Okay. Well, around 2008 or so, I read an article in the Yoga Journal, and it was going into addictions or the word intensity. And it said that a person can be addicted to intensity. Intensity is such a broad word, but I think that a good way to know what intensity could be is, rock and roll could be intense. So it could be rock and roll. It could be, even some electronic music. Some people might listen to, music while they're playing paintball. That's an example of intensity that in and of itself isn't something bad. It's more the addiction to it, the need to always be on, always be on. And so the construct and the thought of always needing to be on is something new to me, because I've always felt it was normal, and to a big extent it's very common, so that in that respect it's normal. Okay, but I myself have been pretty into consistent movement, consistent action for quite some time. I don't know, I think on some level that may just be sort of the way I was since I was a little boy, just always wanting to be active. As I got older, that continued. I mean, I always wanted that rush, that pump. I was addicted to coffee for a while. Even some beer on the weekends. I would drink some beer on the weekends. Movies. There's always, when you're always constantly trying to get out of a state of calmness, that is a way you could start identifying an addiction. Maybe going to sleep late, things like that. Always on the internet, always wanting to be connected. This is a form of addiction, addiction to intensity. So for me, that's something I'm facing, and I think it had to start with some of the easier ones to identify, like a habitual need to want to drink some wine or something like that, like where it was harder to say no than it was to say yes. It wasn't sort of like, sure. It was like, well, let me seek out a bottle on the weekend or something like that, where it's not so bad in and of itself. It's not like that amount is hurting anyone or even hurting yourself too greatly, but it is not allowing you to grow, right? Because you're sort of stagnating at that same level, and you're not really stressing or pushing yourself out of that little comfort zone. So you could even say a person could be addicted to comfort, and that's actually probably one of the most common addictions, I think, is the addiction to comfort. I was watching a video last night over somebody talking about how addiction to comfort is probably, comfort and ease is probably some of the most common forms of addiction. For example, drugs that allow us to sleep faster. Not saying, again, if you need this, of course you need it, and it is what it is, doctor prescribed, etc., etc. Not trying to go against that. As much as we like to get extra strength Tylenol, because fast acting extra strengths, when we don't feel any pain at any point, and in a way we become so addicted to this ease and convenience that when we have to apply ourselves and work and get out of a comfort zone, it becomes an insurmountable challenge where we really don't want to do it at any level. Okay. It went into also, this study I was going into when also talking about pain and pleasure, and what is the difference of what is the opposite of pleasure. It also talked about how the opposite of pleasure is not pain. If that is not the opposite. The opposite of pleasure is comfort. Okay. Another more abstract version of addiction, and I say abstract because this one is difficult to pinpoint depending on what it is that you do for a living. Okay. Like Lady Gaga, for example, is always in the limelight, and always, but her work in some respect is being in the limelight. But at the same time, if she were to need that validation for her to feel happy, in other words, see, it's one thing to see, that's where it becomes technical, where if she needs the attention to be happy internally, then that's not a healthy place to be. Because if, say, she didn't have that, it would be that she could get pretty depressed, right, in theory. And I like Lady Gaga, of course, and that's actually the photo behind me right here. So I'm only saying that, respectfully speaking, that if someone were to need that attention, then it would turn devastating if they didn't get it, and thus not a good form of addiction or need. Okay. But say somebody, again, a movie star, say it was Brad Pitt, at the same time, or Lady Gaga, it doesn't matter who, say they make a movie and they want that movie to be seen by a lot of people, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are devastated and it creates their self-value. It's just a goal that they want to see. So it's you could say the problem comes with the addiction of needing the validation, okay, where you need that in order to feel successful or feel at one, okay, versus if it could be a goal for a lot of people to see it, but it doesn't mean that outcome is the main and only objective to your entire life. That is sort of the separation there, and it can be an addiction to always seek that. So addictions are interesting because they can be very simple, and you could say they're connected, because on some level, say someone does need a lot of, and again, this is a very personal topic, but if someone were to need a lot of, you could say a movie star or whatever, need a lot of validation, then, and if they were to not get it, right, and then you may regress to drinking, right, because it's a way of escaping and feeling better and creating euphoric feelings externally. So you're depending on an external sort of an intensity, a change of state to create that joy. So now this is why I'm moving along into meditation, because that's sort of where you're trying and focusing on connecting, branching into and rooting your consciousness into your soul. So you're more aware and conscious of your inner joy and inner peace, and you're rooting, just sinking in, and that's where that meditation, metaphorically speaking, you could say that's where that meditation starts becoming useful, because instead of trying to sink into changing events, whether it's the weather, hey, you know what, it's not sunny or it's not rainy, it's not sunny, I'm mad, I'm not, this person isn't making time for me, I'm upset, this person hasn't returned my call, etc., etc., or this person is not exercising, this person is, they're drinking, You could also be mad at other people's addictions. So these are just examples that if you are always seeking, they didn't accept me to the med school I wanted to go to, my career isn't where you want it to be. These are some common things that sort of upset you, and in that upsetness, there's almost like it's a balance, because on some level you have to trigger dissatisfaction and a change and a feedback that you need to change what you're doing to get to your next goal, where that's feedback. It's almost like you're silently observing what you need to change, and deep within you, you're still okay. And that difference there is the difference between being addicted and being in control of yourself and the situation and you and how you respond. So therein lies sort of the movement from sort of an infant stage, a childhood stage, an adolescent stage, to a more conscious, awake adult stage that is anchored in self and self-awareness and these higher values. Okay, so that's something to think about there. And one last thing, you could say you may want to place something that you're addicted to out of your reach for a while, so in a way that where you can obtain it, and have someone hold you accountable to it, so that you're not reaching for a cigarette. Well, okay, tell people I'm not going to smoke, for 30 days. And then those 30 days you report someone for 30 days, I'm not smoking, things like that. So sort of measure your time away from a addiction, things like that. Those are some things you can do, but ultimately being in control of yourself and being able to make decisions based on your highest levels of understanding is ultimately what's going to bring you joy and peace. So that's where purpose comes in, and delving in and deciphering between pain and pleasure and comfort and development and things like that. So hopefully you got some things here from this video. I'd like to make about 2 to 3 videos this week. We'll see if we can get those all in. Have a great day. It's Monday. Have a good one. I'll see you at the gym. Bye.